Under the theme Nation and Diversity, we have a reading segment is My Childhood. My Childhood is an autobiography of APJ Abdul Kalam, the former President of India. He has written Wings of Fire, which is his autobiography. In this book, he tells about his life story in his own words. In this lesson, Abdul Kalam explains his childhood with examples, how he was related with different culture people and with different religious people. Now, in this lesson, let us read and learn about his childhood incidents. In the beginning of the lesson, we have learnt that this lesson, My Childhood, is written by APJ Abdul Kalam. Here we have few points about APJ Abdul Kalam. He is the 11th President of India. He was born on 15th October 1931 in Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu. Died on 27th July 2015, Shillong, Meghalaya State. Awards: Padma Bhushan in 1981, Padma Vibhushan in 1990 and Bharat Ratna in 1997. His profession was aerospace scientist. He worked as a scientist at ISRO. He was responsible for so many changes in the science and technology field in India. He is also called People's President, Missile Man. There are so many things we have to learn from Abdul Kalam. In this lesson, we are learning about his childhood incidents. Students, now we learn the summary of the lesson, My Childhood. In the beginning paragraphs, Abdul Kalam tells about his childhood and his family. He was born in the island town called Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu. It is very far from the Tamil Nadu state. Abdul Kalam's father, Jainuddin, was not much educated or not much rich. His mother, Aishamma, was very spiritual woman. And they have only the ancestral Pakka house, which was made of bricks. Abdul Kalam comes from very poor background. So many people come and eat in their house, as Abdul Kalam's family loves to serve them food. Abdul Kalam says he learned so many good values from his parents, being very pious, being polite with others. Abdul Kalam says he was not very much attractive or handsome child in his childhood. He was born to a tall parents, right? He was born so good and handsome and tall parents. Abdul Kalam says even though they were not born in rich, but parents provided whatever the necessary things children required: food, shelter, education and moral values. Abdul Kalam worked as a paper boy when he was 8 years old. The World War II broke out in 1939. At the time, there was no much effect on Rameshwaram because this island was isolated from British. Right? It was not that much affected place. What Abdul Kalam has done? In those days, from his brother-in-law used to listen many stories about the World War II. Whatever the stories he heard from his brother-in-law, the next day those stories would come in the newspaper called Dinamani. This was the newspaper Dinamani published those days the articles, the news articles about the World War II. Abdul Kalam used to deliver the newspapers from the station Rameshwaram to Dhanishkoti with the help of his brother-in-law. He worked as a paper boy when he was 8 years old. Then later he became a paper boy to the president of the country. Abdul Kalam has 3 good friends in his childhood. He used to spend lot of his school time with his friends: Ramanandan Sastri, Aravindan and Shiva Prakasham. Ramanandan Sastri's father, Pakshi Lakshmana Sastri, was high priest in Rameshwaram temple. Later, Ramananda Sastri became a priest in the temple. Aravindan became a transport manager, arranging transport to the pilgrims, and Shiv Prakashan became a catering in charge in the railways. Kalam's family arranged boats for the wedding ceremony of Lord Rama. Whenever they celebrate this annual occasion, in the boats of Kalam's family, the idols of Lord Rama and Sita go for the procession in the sea water. That was a very impressive and inspirational story that Abdul Kalam says. And most of his bedtime stories were about Prophet and Lord Rama. His mother and grandmother used to tell the children in the house always the great mythological stories. From those stories in his childhood, Abdul Kalam accepted religious tolerance. He treated all the religions equally. That's what his parents, grandparents told to all the children in the house. Abdul Kalam was sent to the last bench by a new teacher when Abdul Kalam was studying 5th standard in Rameshwaram Elementary School. Abdul Kalam used to sit with all other religious people. But that new teacher could not digest Abdul Kalam having mark of a Muslim boy, that is nothing but cap on his head, and sitting with other 3 Brahmin children. That teacher could not digest that. Then Abdul Kalam was targeted by the teacher and asked to go back and sit there. That was really disgusting. Being a child, Abdul Kalam could not take it. Abdul Kalam was very depressed, and all his 3 friends too. Then Ramananda Shastri went home and told to his father Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri about the incident which took place in the school. The next day, Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri comes and corrects the new teacher for segregating the students according to their religion, right? Which is very wrong. And here, Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri asked the new teacher to apologize or leave the school. Then the new teacher learned that there should not be no religion or caste or creed differences in the school, and he followed what Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri said. Then from that time, teacher started treating equally all the children, and all the children started being very freely with all other people in the class. That was how Abdul Kalam started respecting all the religions. For that incident, the teacher regretted a lot. Students learnt that all religions are equal.